All right, so who won E3? That is a question everybody is asking. All right. Before I went into E3, before I watched the conferences or anything, I was hoping that Sony would win. I hope Sony would win, and I'm thinking like, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking like, Nintendo, they've been doing horribly. Okay, I'm not even gonna, I'm not even gonna have hope. It's just, I mean, they're gonna disappoint me again. They're gonna lose. They're gonna be third. Sony is gonna win, and Microsoft is gonna come in third. I mean, come in second, come in between there somewhere, right? That's what I was thinking. Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo. That's what I was thinking, right? But then when I saw the Microsoft conference, that thing was crazy. It was games non-stop. The entire conference was just trailers about games. It was just games, nothing else. Microsoft really listened to their fans. It was crazy. I mean, okay, I'll get it. Okay, I'll do a video later after this one in the description. I'll leave a link where I'll talk about my favorite games at D3. So I'm not gonna get into games in particular in this video. But yeah, so Microsoft blew me away. They just put out games after games, and it was crazy. Like, yeah, I mean, it completely blew my expectations. And so as I was watching, I'm thinking like, oh man, Sony has to be on their A game right now, because I mean Microsoft killed it in my opinion. And then Sony's conference, man, utter disappointment in my opinion. I hear people saying that Sony won. How did they win? Okay, so they focused on indie games. Most of the games were indie games. I have nothing wrong with indie games, people. I have nothing wrong with indie games. Stanley Parable, you know that game. That game is amazing. It's one of my favorite games. But I mean, they had a little bit more of a show, just a little bit more of a show. Their presence was better than Microsoft, because Microsoft was honestly quite boring. I mean, because it was, even though, yeah, I'm not complaining. I'd rather have a boring conference than no games. But because they put out games, it was just, oh, a guy comes up on stage, he talks, and then a game, and then a guy comes up on stage and talks, then another game. So it was really boring. But okay, not really boring. It was a bit boring. But Sony's conference, they had a little bit more of a show, not much more, but I mean, they showed mostly indie games, and then they showed tech. They showed Project Morpheus, which I mean, I wanted to see more of that. They showed this new box, PlayStation TV, and a bunch of. I mean, they focused more on the future of entertainment rather than the video games, and that's what E3 is about. It's about video games, and so I feel like Sony was a letdown, and they didn't show many games. And the games they showed, a lot of them were like were not exclusives. They showed a few exclusives, but I mean, like, it was nothing. I don't know. I was hearing people talk about, oh, Sony brought the games. No, they didn't. Microsoft brought the games. Okay, and so I mean, Sony was a letdown for me. And then Nintendo conference. As soon as that thing started, my mind was blown. The way they presented their conference was amazing. Like I said, I thought Nintendo was going to be at the bottom. In my mind, Nintendo won E3. They started making fun of themselves. They recognized their faults and were improving upon that. You can see that they're taking a new direction, and that new direction is perfect. It's like they watched my previous YouTube video that I did when Nintendo should be more like Disney. They flat out said, "Oh, no Mario in this digital event." I mean, they made fun of the fact that they were not they were not at E3 doing a conference. They made fun of the fact that they rely on Mario so much. They made fun of the fact that people hated Toon Link. They made fun of the fact that people were asking for Star Fox and they were not giving Star Fox. I mean, they really made fun of themselves, and then they put out games, and the games they put out were all first party. You know how I was complaining that Nintendo is not even supporting their own console, so why should I support their console? Now this conference was all Wii U, which it needed to be. and it was all first-party games. Microsoft and Sony's conference, majority was third-party games. With Nintendo's conference, these games I can only get on the Wii U, which is why I need to buy a Wii U. So they really convinced people to get a Wii U. And they didn't focus on those dumb little games that we don't really care about, like the Toad Puzzler game. I mean, it looks fun, but I mean, like, who's gonna pick that up? No one's gonna pick that up. I mean, so they didn't focus on that. They showed a trailer for it, and then they moved on. They just moved on and started focusing on something else. So I mean, usually they would spend like time, they'll like show a trailer, then they'll talk about that game. They didn't do that. They just showed a trailer and then they moved on and started talking about another game. The only complaint I have with Nintendo's conference was that it was so short. It was like 46 minutes long, whereas Microsoft and Sony's were like an hour and a half. It was a very, 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 very short conference, but it was packed. It like they had, I mean, an E3 conference. In order to have a successful E3 conference, you can't just bring the games. You saw that with Microsoft. They brought the games, but it was boring. You need some sort of you need an entertainment factor. The conference needs to be, you need to like at the end of the conference, I wanted more. I wanted to watch more. Like it was entertaining to watch. They had Iwata and Reggie fighting it out, like freaking Goku and Vegeta doing that head bob and whatnot. It was just a very entertaining conference, and they brought the games. So all around, that conference was just a higher quality. It was better, mind you, that it was not live, so they had that advantage. But I thought, in my mind, Nintendo won, then Microsoft, then Sony. That's my opinion. And yeah, so let me know down in the description, down in the comments, who you think won E3, and let me know why you think they won E3. And be on the lookout for, I'll be putting up a video where I'll talk about my favorite games that I saw at E3. And I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.